February in the Arizona garden is one of the busiest times of the year. Our impending hot summer means that we have a short growing season. We need to get things done quickly to give everything the longest amount of time possible before those high summer temperatures hit. There is a lot to do and a lot that needs to get done this month. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through all the tasks that need to be done. We'll cover watering, fertilizing, pruning, planting, all of the important tasks that need to be done this month to help you have your best garden yet. My name's Angela from Growing in the Garden, and I love to share garden inspiration and helpful tips so you can be successful in your own garden. As you look around my garden, it looks pretty bare. The loofah tunnel is empty, the trees have lost their leaves. One of the great things about February is a lot of those fall and winter plantings are finishing up, and that means big, beautiful harvests. These are some of my favorite harvests from the last few weeks. Throughout February, we still have to keep an eye out for freezing temperatures. Pay attention to your forecast. If it looks like temperatures are going to go below 32 degrees, cover all of those frost-sensitive plants. Our average last frost is typically around Valentine's Day, which is perfect. That gives us the beginning of the month to get everything ready, and then we begin planting towards the middle or end of the month. Pay attention to that forecast, and if it looks like we're still going to freeze, hold off on planting some of those frost-tender vegetables. So let's talk about what we can do at the beginning of the month to get everything ready. As you transition your garden from a winter garden to more of a spring and summer garden, it's all about harvesting the things that are ready and making room for what you're going to plant. The great thing is it doesn't need to happen all at once. As the weather begins to heat up, lettuce and other cool season crops will come to an end naturally. You will see a central flower stalk forming. That means they're bolting. That means they're saying, okay, it's getting too hot for me. I am going to switch from producing food to producing seeds, and that's what that central flower stalk is. So you can leave it in place, allow it to flower. The bees love it. Let the bees come, or if you need that spot, simply cut it off at the base of the plant. As things are ready to be harvested, then you can begin planting. And if things aren't quite ready, a lot of times I will interplant, which means I will plant a new vegetable next to an existing vegetable. And then when that older vegetable is ready to come out, that new one is happy to have the space and the sunlight and ready to grow. Each garden is different and each year is different depending on the weather. As your beds begin to be cleared out and harvested, that is the time that you want to fill those beds back up with compost. If it's been a while since you've added raised bed mix into your beds, you may want to amend with additional raised bed mix. Filling the beds all the way back up really helps your plants. As temperatures warm up, you may start to see additional insect activity. They like the warmer temperatures too. Keep an eye out for pests. Don't be quick to treat. You might be surprised to see ladybugs and other beneficial insects coming in to take care of them for you. This is the time of year, if you're growing Texas mountain laurel, that you often see the caterpillars on the leaves. If the tree is overall large and healthy, you may not need to do anything. If they become a problem or you feel like the health of the tree is affected, you can always spray with BT, which is effective in treating caterpillars. Beginning of the month is also a great time to finalize your plans for your summer garden. Make sure that you know what you want to plant and where you're going to plant it. If you didn't prune your roses in January, prune established roses this month. Clean up all the leaves and debris from around roses to discourage disease and insects. If you didn't prune your deciduous fruit trees in January, go ahead and get them pruned. The ideal time to prune the deciduous fruit trees is before the buds break. Pruning is definitely an art form, and you may need to watch a few different YouTube videos and look up how to prune your particular type of tree. It's better to prune your fruit tree badly than to not prune it at all. For sure, prune out dead and diseased and broken and crossing branches. It's also a great time to treat your fruit trees with neem oil or horticultural oil. Once those trees bloom, it is the perfect time to fertilize your deciduous fruit trees. Look for an organic fertilizer and follow the package directions, and water well before and after fertilizing. While you're waiting for things to warm up outside at the beginning of the month, it's also a great time to start your sweet potato slips. If you didn't start them indoors last month, get them started. The best time to plant here in the low desert is March. So if you get them started now, they should be ready in time to plant sometime in March. There are a lot of bare root fruit trees and fruit trees and landscape plants that are in the nurseries now. Now, February is a great month to plant. The earlier you plant, it gives them the best chance of success and getting settled in before the heat of the summer comes. For fruit trees, look for varieties that require less than 400 chill hours. Those types are going to grow best here in the low desert of Arizona. Let's talk about what to do after danger of frost has passed. Hopefully you got all your beds filled back up with compost and you have your planting plan ready to go. February is all about tomatoes. The tomatoes that were planted back in last August, if you can believe it, are mostly finishing up. Because tomatoes are often worn out and pretty haggard by the end of either a hot summer or a cold winter, most of my plants look a little worse for the wear, and I like to start off with nice fresh plants. For my spring planted tomatoes, I definitely want to find a different spot for planting. You always want to rotate where you plant. As temperatures begin warming up and you see that frost is not in the forecast, it is time to get planting. You want to plant your tomatoes and your peppers as early as possible in the month to give them the best chance of producing well until temperatures heat up in the summer. Here's a couple tomato planting tips. Plant your tomato plants deeply. As you look at your tomato transplant, you'll see it probably has several sets of leaves. Remove all the leaves on 2/3 of the plant. Plant that plant with just that top third showing above the ground, and roots will grow all along that stem. That will give that tomato a nice deep root system and give it a great chance of growing well. If you have a healthy plant, you can definitely keep it going. As temperatures warm, you may see them begin to perk back up. If you're going to continue with those same plants, you might see new growth forming. After danger of frost has passed is a good time to cut those plants back a little bit to where you see that new growth forming and give them a good dose of fertilizer. February is a great time to take a look at your existing watering system, run it, make sure everything is working properly. It's nice outside, it's not too hot to be working outside. Check the emitters, run the system, make sure everything is working. Problems in the garden are most often traced back to problems with watering. So make sure that your watering system is ready and good to go for the upcoming gardening season. I've got my fingers crossed that we're going to get a nice deep rain this month, but if we don't, you want to give your trees a nice deep drink. Water your established citrus trees once every 2 or 3 weeks. Water your established fruit trees once every 10 to 14 days. If you're growing citrus, and if you're not, you should be, citrus grows so well here. February is one of the times to fertilize your citrus trees. Look for a fertilizer made for citrus. There are organic types that work really well. You want to water well before application. Follow the package directions for application rate. So there are 3 times a year that we fertilize citrus: Valentine's Day, Memorial Day, and Labor Day. Pruning citrus isn't necessary like it is for other fruit trees, but if you want to prune your citrus after danger of frost has passed is the best time to prune your citrus. Keep in mind when you're pruning citrus that fruit production is best on the lower 2/3 of the tree. So it's best not to skirt the citrus trees by cutting off all of those lower branches. When you remove those lower branches, you're removing some of the best fruit on the tree. The lower branches also protect the trunk from sun damage. If you have any exposed trunks on your citrus tree, February is a great time to get those planted with a citrus paint, kind of like a sunblock for citrus. After danger of frost has passed is also the best time to plant citrus in your Arizona garden. Later in the month, It's also time to prune back some of those frost sensitive plants. If you have any frost damage, once danger of frost is passed, it's a great time to get those plants cleaned up. Wait for new growth to appear and prune back just to that point. February is a great month for many of those cool season herbs. We've been enjoying dill and cilantro in the garden, and as temperatures warm up and many of those things begin to bolt, they are very attractive to beneficial insects. So don't be too quick to pull the cilantro and the dill from your garden. Leave them in place. You'll be amazed at the wildlife that appears. Harvest and preserve those cool season herbs so you have enough to last you through the summer. February is also the beginning of the planting window for basil. Basil is frost sensitive, so you definitely want to wait until danger of frost is passed before planting basil. Basil does really well started directly from seed in the garden and also from transplant. Other herbs that you can plant from seed or transplant are chamomile, chives, parsley. The herbs that you can add from transplant this month are bay, garlic chives, lavender, lemongrass, mint, rosemary, sage, and thyme. That is a great list of herbs to add to your garden. February is really an ideal month for planting many of the perennial herbs that grow well in our Arizona gardens. There's so many delicious fruits and vegetables to add to your garden this month. Here are some of my favorites. At the beginning of the month, if it's still pretty cool, you can add beets, bok choy, lettuce, peas, and spinach to your garden. But if things are already beginning to heat up, it may be too late to add those vegetables to your garden. Here's what to plant from seed this month. Armenian cucumbers, cantaloupe, carrots, corn, cucumbers, green onions, radishes, summer squash, turnips, and watermelon. Here's what to plant from transplant this month. Artichokes, asparagus, blackberries, grapes, ground cherries, onions, peppers, Swiss chard, tomatillos, and tomatoes. If you didn't plant potatoes last month, there's also still time to get some potatoes planted this month. Hopefully your garden is bursting with spring color. Those flowers that we planted back in September and in the fall, enjoy those blooms. It's a beautiful time of year. As temperatures begin to climb into the 80s, make sure that you're watering those flowers a little bit more often. As spots open up in your garden, here are some of the flowers that you can plant this month. Alyssum, angelonia, bee balm, butterfly weed, desert marigold, desert milkweed, gaillardia, gazania, geranium, hollyhock, marigold, tithonia, periwinkle or vinca, petunias, purslane, ranunculus, rudbeckia, spilanthes, strawflower, sunflower, sweet peas, and verbena. Now you know what I'll be doing this month in the garden. Hopefully you got a few ideas for your garden as well. Thank you so much for watching.